Here we are with Mr. Paul Pennicook he's the director of the Curaçao Tourist Board. Mr. Pennicook, thank you very much for allowing us to interview you and talk about what you've been doing. I'm pretty sure that since this entire crisis started, you haven't been idle. You've been doing a lot of work. You've been working. Can you share with us what has been going on since the borders were closed, since the crisis started?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, before I do that, I'd like to put things into context in terms of how this crisis compares to other things that may have happened in the world before. Here in the Caribbean, we have dealt with Zika, for example, and chikungunya and those things. We dealt with the H1N1 crisis of 2009-10, I think it was.
Yes.
We also dealt with 9/11 in the United States, which was, you know, a big deal. And we dealt with the global financial crisis of 2008-9. The difference between those things and COVID-19 is that most of them were somewhat regional, or even the ones that were global, like the H1N1 pandemic, or even the global crisis financially. They really lasted for a certain amount of time and then we moved on, or they were regional and then we moved on. The difference with this particular thing at COVID-19, it's of a magnitude and a scope that the world hasn't seen before.
Okay.
This thing has shut down airports, closed hotels, closed attractions all over the world. And it's really something that we certainly haven't seen in our lifetime. And we have to be dealing with a global scenario that I understand it's up to something like 185, 190 countries across the world that is actually dealing with the COVID-19 crisis. So nothing of this scale. And what has happened is it has created a health crisis to a number of countries, and it has also brought an economic crisis. Because when you look at what's happening in many countries across the world that have literally locked down, you immediately create a scenario where people are unemployed. I mean, in the United States, for example, I understand that there were last week up to some 22 million people claiming unemployment. So it tells you the scope of this problem in terms of an economic crisis and a health crisis. But it's the sort of thing that, yes, it has presented a challenge, but it's something we have to deal with. During this period, and of course, Curaçao closed its borders to the world back in March 13th or 14th, I think it was. And I must say that it was a very proactive move on the part of the government, because Curaçao closed its borders much earlier than a number of others did. And I think we're now seeing the results of that, because it is very interesting to know that with only 14 cases, and we have been at 14 cases now since I think the 8th of April, that's actually a great achievement on the part of Curaçao. So not only was the government proactive, I think the population did a great thing by obeying the rules and therefore containing the spread of the virus. That has put us in a position, frankly, for when we go back into the market, we can tell a very positive story about how Curaçao was able to manage this virus. And in that regard, I really want to say kudos to the government and the people of Curaçao for having done such a great job containing the virus. Now, during this period that we have been closed, we have been very busy. We have gone into the market with some positive messages just to basically keep Curaçao in contention in terms of people knowing what's happening in Curaçao, or people remembering Curaçao, or people being aware of Curaçao. For example, we have done this Hope to See You videos, which is videos of different employees in the hospitality industry. And we have posted these in all our major markets so people can see that we're here in Curaçao waiting to welcome you back. And these videos are along the theme, Hope to See You Soon. We also ran a couple of newspaper ads in our main market, Holland, promoting the same message. Hope to see you soon. We also did a video series on douchey things to do at home, where basically with everybody at home pretty much all over the world because of all the lockdowns, we have posted these videos of different activities that you can do at home, that we are doing at home in Curacao, and they're providing entertainment, frankly, and of course reminding people of Curacao. We did a video on Zumba, video on cooking, bartending, all these different things, wellness and that sort of thing. Another series of videos that we have shown to the market. What we have also done, we have posted these activities with our PR agencies who have shared them with travel media and other media. We have actually seen excellent pickup in the different markets on these activities that we have done. So not only have we posted these videos and they have gone to the consumer and they're seeing it, but we have had different media pick up the stories of these videos, which is also keeping us in top of mind in the market. Another thing we have done, and this we did with our North American Public Relations Agency, is we created a Spotify Curaçao playlist. We did songs by local artists and also with sort of a beachy vibe. And we've posted this Spotify Curaçao playlist, which sort of helps consumers a world away to reminisce on Curacao. And they can feel it for themselves through music. This actually has also been very successful because as important a publication as Forbes.com in the States picked up this, they did a feature on the Spotify Curaçao playlist that we did. So it's another way, as I said, of keeping the activity out there, keeping people reminded of Curacao. Also, we have been doing things like trade webinars. What do I mean by that? Or representatives in the different markets, because everybody's at home not doing anything. They have been doing webinars with travel agents, just teaching travel agents or reminding travel agents of Curacao so that when the market comes back to life, they would have been even more educated on Curacao and can sell Curacao to their clients. We have actually spent some time also developing the recovery campaign. I'm not going to give you the details on the recovery campaign, except to say it's a welcome back campaign, and we've made use of the best unique selling points of Curacao to develop this welcome back campaign. Because, you know, after an event like this, we have to be very sensitive to the mood of people. Because one of the things that we're going to have to deal with during this recovery is the fact that people are going to be in a different place in their mind. And there's going to be something lingering as to, well, do I want to get on a plane now? Am I ready to travel yet? So we're going to have to be sensitive to that kind of mood as we try to get people to think travel again, and then of course to think Curacao. So we developed this campaign along those lines, where it will use the very unique selling points of Curacao to sell Curacao, but we're also sensitive to the mood we're going to encounter in the market and make sure that we can be motivational, positive, inspirational to get people to actually travel again. While we're doing that, we have had conversations with, and just today I was on with Charter and CAP, you know, the airport partners, discussing with them how do we get the product of Curacao ready to bring our visitors back. You know, we can do the greatest campaign in the world and we can invite everybody to come, bearing in mind that we are going to have to be sensitive to people's mood to get them to travel again. But then when we get them to make that decision to book and come, we have to be ready to receive them. We have to get it across that we are a safe destination, and I mean safe in terms of this virus was contained in Curacao, and we are doing the necessary things to ensure that they're safe when they come to Curacao. It means we have to develop certain protocols. So upon arrival at the airport, we have to do certain checks to make sure that the people themselves are safe coming in, because we have to protect the local population, and we have to protect those people who arrive when they're here, right? We have to make sure that we do certain things in the hotels in terms of going forward. Are we going to have waiters serve with gloves, for example? We're going to have to do something about the buffets, where we cannot have these long lines at buffets and everybody using the same utensils to pick up their food. Those are things that we have discussed with the hotel sector, and they're working on it to ensure that when the visitors come back, we are prepared to offer a safe product and environment to them.
So you are very positive about the recovery after this all is over.
No, absolutely. I think that this too will pass. It is going to take a little longer, and travel is going to take a little longer. The hospitality industry is going to take a little longer to recover, but there are some very positive signs in the market. Our main markets in Europe, for example, are already beginning to relax the shutdown that they have imposed. So they are slowly but surely beginning to open up their economies again. The US is beginning to do the same thing. As a matter of fact, some announcements were made in Germany and Holland this week. The US, some places are starting to open, but certainly some places are going to start opening May 1. And I think the same thing is going to happen in South America. So our main markets are beginning to open up, beginning to create economic activity, which is a very good sign for us. And that is why we need to make sure, even here, we're starting to slowly but surely recover. But we have done the necessary things, or we are doing the necessary things to make the environment safe and welcoming for visitors. Because I should mention, for example, the medical professionals that are coming in to be based at the old hospital, which is being prepared just in case we have more cases, there's an outbreak of sorts. We are prepared for it. The necessary things that are being done in terms of putting the infrastructure in place to deal with this, that is also something positive that we can use to invite our visitors to come back to Curacao. Along those lines, we presented last week to the charter membership in general some of what we're doing and what our projections are at this point. I will say, I mean, there is this caveat that any projections that are done now are not really that accurate because of what is happening in the marketplace.
Yeah.
We cannot really accurately project that, yes, this will start in June and it's going to be X amount of people arriving. But we have done some projections which indicate that if we start in June, this is what will happen. If we start in July, this is what will happen. And if we start in August, this is what will happen. We believe that July is our most likely scenario at this point in time. If we use that projection, we will end up having arrivals in the rest of the year, which we'll have 194 stayover visitors for 2020 if we were to start in July and go according to our plan. That will be almost 60% down on 2019, but with nothing happening in April, May, June, I mean, one can understand that we would be down 50, 60%. That is, however, the projection that we're making. If that holds, we are projecting that we'll have tremendous growth as we gradually recover. in 2021, we will have maybe 50-55% growth in 2021. And then we'll have another 30-odd% growth in 2022. That will put us at a certain place where, yes, we will be recovering, but we would not get back to 2019's numbers until 2023.
So you agree with Mr. James Heppel, what he said during the webinar a few days ago, that we're going to see the normal situation again until 2023?
Yes, our projections show that it would be 2023 before we get back to what we did in 2019.
Okay.
Okay, in terms of the situation will be gradual and we will see growth in 21 and 22, but to get back to the 2019 numbers, we're projecting 2023. Now, that's our projection. We are hoping that as the different markets recover and the pent-up demand that we anticipate will be in a number of these markets, that if things are going very well in our source markets, then we are prepared to do the level of activity that could make us beat that 2023 projection. But it all depends on how the economies in our main markets recover, right? We do have the plan that will get us there, but currently the plan shows that we'll get back to the 2019 numbers in 2023. I am also going to be having a discussion with the Port Authority because we need to have a look at how our cruise industry will do. At this point in time, the cruise industry scenario keeps changing regularly. Why? The CDC, for example, has put something out to say that cruises leaving from US ports cannot sail before the 18th of July. I understand that on a conference call, the CEO of Carnival Group just made the point that the recovery will take place in stages. In other words, what they may do is open up different parts of the world at different times. So at this point in time, there is no guarantee as to when they're going to start back in the Caribbean, for example. So in that regard, I'm going to have a discussion with CPA, and we obviously have to stay in touch with the cruise lines to determine when can we see some cruise lines back in Curacao, some cruise ships back in Curacao, and we have to prepare for a different industry when the cruise lines start to sail again, because we understand that there are more than likely going to be less crowded ships sailing. There's going to be some aspect of social distancing, and they on the cruise ships are going to have to do similar things to what we were talking about for the hotel sector, where, for example, they're going to have to look at their food service and how they do it and how they handle the crowds and all of that, and how they handle the hygiene and all that stuff on the ships and the hotels and all of that. It's going to be a different day.
Yes.
It's going to be a different day going forward. But we're confident that whatever that new normal looks like, we are going to be there making sure that we're getting visitors coming into Curacao, because we have so much to offer in Curacao, and we have done such a great job in maintaining or containing the virus in Curacao. I think we will be right up there, ready to receive visitors, even with that new normal. And therefore, we're looking forward to reopening the industry in Curacao.
And what you're doing right now, when the border opens again and the people will start coming, it gives us an edge, because we're still there. We're still showing, hey, we're here waiting for you. Will that give us an edge when they open again and say, hey, let's go to Curaçao? They worked hard in containing the virus.
That's exactly the point. That is why I'm so pleased about how we've managed to do this. And so I'm so pleased that the population responded to the measures that the government put in place, which is what has taken us to this place in time. And so we want to really tell that very good story, cautiously, but we want to tell that very good story to the market so that it will assure them that Curacao has an edge and Curacao is the place to visit once our borders are open and we're ready to take visitors again.
Mr. Pennicook, thank you very much. Again, your smile just radiates, gives us positive vibe, and we'll keep in touch with you to give us more updates on how the tourism industry is developing, especially what CTB is doing to prepare us for when we go back to the normal, the new normal.
The new normal, absolutely.
Yes, exactly.
Look forward to it, and all I can say to you and all your viewers and your readers out there is, listen, stay safe, and we're all in this together, and we are going to get it back. We will recover, and we will do well in the future.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Sure. You too.